Welcome to Carrying Stones and Digging Holes to Cultivate Consciousness, where, for the next 2 hours, Bridgette Lynn Dolgoff and Kelsey Sweet will be sharing their knowledge and understanding with their own beautifully unique twists on all topics related to helping humanity to achieve betterment of health in body and in mind. Settle yourselves down on this fine Saturday evening. For now, it is time for Bridgette and Kelsey.
Well, yahoo! It's Saturday. Woo. All right, I don't know where my co-host is. Oh, there she is.
Saturday.
Yeah, just another work day. No.
Pretty much.
When you're self-employed, every day is a work day. So.
Pretty much.
Anyway, so hey, donate. Do the donate. So you can go to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Several ways to donate. At the bottom of the webpage, there is going to be some snail mail, an address, send us a check or a money order, or silver. Send us silver. Some silver. Also, you can click the donate button up there at the top of the website, and it flops down, and you can do a debit card or a credit card. And then also we have Zazzle.com. Find something zazzling from one of your favorite hosts. And let me see what else. Oh, Patreon. There's a little unusual type of button. It's a little pinky red. It says Patreon on it. Click on that. It's on the website. And, you know, you can give as much as you want every month. $5, whatever you got. And that's it. And hey, you can find us, Bridgette and Kelsey. I know. I was like thinking about that. Like, where am I? I've had such a busy day. Like, where are you and who are you? And anyway, you can go to revolutionradiofreedomslips.com and you can look me and Kelsey up. And we have lots of work and classes and sessions and, you know, all kinds of stuff. I've been pouring salve all day. So I got one more batch of salves to, you know, toss out there. So, yeah, you can buy some salve from me to help me keep going. Also what Kelsey's got going. And so you can look us up, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Scroll down to Studio B. You'll see our thumbnail at the 8 p.m. Eastern slot on Saturday. Click on that, and you'll find the back page, and it'll have everything you need to know.
Maybe. At least where to start. And we got to dig in a little bit. We got lots of information out there. We just barely scratched the surface here.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I was thinking about? We should do like a 4-class series together.
That would be fun.
You have lots of fuzz on your end. You got a fan or a heater blowing on you, or?
I don't think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just really fuzzy.
Let me plug my microphone in.
Yeah. Kelsey's in the North Pole. She's not telling us that. She's painting Rudolph's nose this weekend.
Well, if you're looking, I kind of look like an elf. I don't know. Crafting away in my little hole. Painting and gluing and sanding.
Yeah, you're kind of like me. You're on a big forward upswing. All of a sudden, like, Mars kind of straightening itself out finally after, like, 6 months. Finally has given me a boost. Like, you've been getting jiggy, too. I'm getting, you know, doing the website, getting it all straightened away. You've been doing a lot of the same stuff. I'm pouring salve. You're painting Christmas lampshades to sell. So we're kicking some booty. We're actually moving forward. Like, not forward enough where the money's pouring in, but we're at least, charging in that direction.
It's better than it has been for a minute, so I'm not complaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, no.
It's not great. It's not raining yet. I'm trying to make it rain. You got to do the rain dance, I guess. Okay, I'm still trying to plug my microphone in. I'm getting there. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries. It's just a little fuzzy on your end. It's all starting to sound better. Ooh, I hear all kind of crashing and bashing. And screeching. Ooh, that's better. Talk to me. I don't hear any fuzz.
If I do, there. Okay.
There, yeah, no, that's good.
I'm just good. My microphone is so sensitive. I hear everything now.
Well, good thing Axe isn't there, right? Or is he there?
Yes, we've had a pretty busy day. The puppy woke him up a little bit early this morning. The puppy's really excited that he's home. And then he's had to sit through a client session this morning, and then we went outside, rode his bike, and played on the scooter and put up some Christmas lights and fed him hot cocoa. So, yeah, it's been a fun day. He's he's watching some funny kid videos, funny cat videos.
So what's your week been like?
Too fast. I don't know. It's been a good week. It's been productive. I don't know. Like you said, it's like just kind of like plugging away in the studio, getting little bits done here, little bits done there. Still feel like I have 1,000 things to do, but no, it's been a good week. How's your week?
It's moving forward pretty good, actually. I've just kind of come to like a whole bunch of, epiphanies this week. Also, our breakthroughs or perception breakdowns, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, just been thinking about a lot of different stuff. And I think kind of, my head's above water enough that like I can, see the beach. So I'm kind of looking over there, able to see a beach. So haven't been able to actually see a beach for a long time. So that's a good thing. I'm just working on all my classes and trying to update my website. And I've decided, I'm going to go back and start doing, I kind of stopped for a long time after everything that I went through, with the state and my private practice and all of that. Because it was pretty, it was horrific from October 2008 through 2013, actually it probably ended like June 2013 of legal stuff and them just being awful for no reason because they want to pass a law that you can't actually do anything alternative in the state of Nevada. So I ended up bucking heads with them on that. But, it's been a long political kind of and legal battle. So I haven't really worked on a lot of people. I mean, at one point in time, years, this has been a while ago, but I used to be busy in my private practice. I even had people that came to see me, would come for 2 weeks and get worked on, go back home. So I'd see people like annually and things like that. And so I'm not going to get an office, but I'm actually going to start opening my practice up more so that I can see other people and not just, be a little bit more open, go to their house, set up, crank on them. No, I have evasive and non-evasive sessions, but yeah, so that's kind of new. And so a little nervous about all of it. I mean, I'm good at what I do. This weekend I have an 18 credit CEU class. I just went and printed out it's like the 5th class, osteopathic upgrade, and just the book the study guide was, I had to go copy it off. It was 188 pages. So that's what I'll be doing the next 3 days, is I'll be in school from like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday, Monday. And it's about once a month that I have this class till the end of February. So anyway, there are different classes. This one's on ligaments. It's all about how to release, ligaments and tendons, and how to, help sort them out and put them, in the place that they belong. And so I'm really excited about this class, actually.
I miss being in school. I can't wait to get back into it. It's probably going to be next fall by the time it happens, but I appreciate learning something new. Keeps my mind busy.
I always say that, and then I get into too much school, and then I get burned out. I'm kind of like, I'm excited about what I'm learning. I got 2 more months, but it's a lot on top of everything else. But I am glad. I love school. I dig it a lot.
I've been out of school now, I think, for almost 6 years. It's the longest. I think
Well, I thought you were going to go back.
The last 5. Well, I'm enrolled in my PhD, but I'm on a leave of absence. I got 1 semester into it, and then life happened, and family happened, and COVID happened, and then a number of other things happened, and so I'm on pause again. So I got kind of going. I got started a little bit. So if I can get my foot out of the mud and keep going with it, would be really helpful. Like, just have a couple things to tie into place. But it all goes in with, like, business and research, and so money, where's the money for it is the hard part. So looking for either grants or funders or investors of some sort. Like, the vision is there, but it's just, little things. And then I feel like the big theme in my life is I get going somewhere and something happens, and then everything kind of falls apart. I've had to start over a lot.
Hey, that's me, but I am 52.
I'm not too far behind.
Yeah, you just got to keep running at it. But there's nothing else to do anyway.
Right? Well, nothing else to do. Just keep trucking along.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're at the bottom, the only direction you can go is up. And you get good at failing and get good at and having to restart things and redo things. You learn to rely on your own resilience, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was the queen of packing. Because I've pretty much kind of been, I don't know so much a gypsy, but I think more kind of a wanderer. I'm super good at, I'm not so much anymore, but I used to be so good at packing everything, because I would get someplace, unpack with my family. I mean, I think in 5th grade, I went to 3 different schools. 2 of them were here in the Reno area, and 1 was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which was, a whole different lifestyle change. But yeah, I'm not the queen of packing anymore. I just, keep everything in storage, and then I know where everything's at. I get in there, get stuff out, put stuff back in. I've got my, summer, spring, fall, winter section. But yeah, you have to be super organized. I think sometimes, like, the more homeless you become, the more organizational skills that you really, really need. If you don't have those skills, it's pretty difficult to hold on, for sure.
Well, I think a lot too in my environment that I'm in now. All of my spaces are like multifunctional spaces. So it's not like just the bedroom, and it's not like just an office space. It's not just an art studio. There's all these things kind of mixed and blended in together. Like, my closet is my office, is my library. But in being able to be adaptable and to fit into different spaces, no matter what, it's freeing in and of itself too.
Yeah, I was thinking about how much I want, like, a big kitchen. So, like, on my land, when I have land, I'm going to have this really amazing kitchen that has like a meat kitchen. It'll have a dairy kitchen. It'll have like a vegetable kitchen, an herbal product kitchen, and then probably have like a bread area as well. And then they all have like different stoves and cleaning sinks and stuff like that. Because also when you have a farm, you can't mix food because you have a lot more, let's just say, bacteria that you have to deal with on the land. So you never really want to wash or slaughter your meat or hack it apart, in, say, your vegetable area. Because you don't want to contaminate your vegetable area. So you don't have to wash your vegetables so much, especially when you just bring them out of the ground. So it's good to have, really have to have, several different areas to work with. But I was thinking about how wonderful it would have been to be able to work in my herb kitchen today, making salves instead of like this little space.
That would be fun. Yeah, to have a big art studio and spread out would be great.
Yeah, and shelves for all my jars of stuff and my products and all my medicines so that I can just get in there and get out of there. They have, Michael Moore I want to do something that this herbalist, Michael Moore did. I saw this video on him. He wrote some really good, pretty, famous herb books. I think he has one like herbal medicinal plants or herbal plants of like the West or something like that. I forget what the title is. But anyway, he's not around anymore. But he got into making these, I'm going to just call them fast tinctures. And I don't really have that capacity because I have to have a bigger area. So I collect the fresh plant, chop it within 2 hours of collection, and then, put it like in vodka or a vinegar. You could put it in like an apple cider vinegar, your plants, and then cure them. I like about 8 weeks. And then you take out the plant mass, squeeze it out, and then you just got the tincture. And I don't like to cook my stuff off. The teacher I studied with likes to cook it off. So basically cook off the alcohol in a pan, before it's kind of a finished product. And I don't really like to do that because I feel like I'm going to lose something out of it. And so, but you wouldn't give I probably wouldn't give a child like a tincture with alcohol, maybe apple cider vinegar. So there's no point in like boiling off, the alcohol. Anyway, Michael Moore has this technique where I could make a tincture in 24 hours. So basically to get, the herbs, you have to get them down to like powder, like really good powder. And then you would put them, in a, like a glass with a little hole that you could open up that it could drip. And then you would pour the alcohol on top. And then because of the slow dripping, the alcohol would saturate the powdered herb. And then over the 24 hours, deliver it into the tincture bottle. So that way it'd be faster. I could hold some bulk dried herbs and be able to grind them up and be able to do that. I mean, it's not going to be like a wet plant or a fresh plant, but, it's still better than nothing. And sometimes you need to make like maybe a little emergency medicine, maybe like some white willow bark for pain, or headaches or PMS. Make different things so that you have them when you need them. And then, my clients, and I would have an area where they could call me up and say, hey, I need a tincture. And I'll be like, come by tomorrow and get it. I'll have it for you. Yeah. So I'm excited about that part of having a bigger place, and having like an office where I can work on people can come see me for lots of different reasons, and then I can give them external, internal plant medicine, and then recommend supplements or whatever else I think they need in their diet, and then sell them some vegetables too from my farm. I'm thinking big here.
It's entrepreneurial. It totally makes sense. Might as well get the holistic model.
Yeah, we'll have people so healthy they won't know what to do. But yeah, so I'd like to have like a little lab and place to grow herbs, and I just love it. I love being a full-time, I like to farm. I would definitely want to have food, and I want to do land restoration, but I love herbal medicine. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm just totally like, there are certain things I think that you're born to do. And I definitely, herbal medicine is one of the things, growing food, taking care of the land, and working on people. I was born to do it. Now, if I could just get back on track and get paid to do it, no.
It'll all come together, I think, in some form or another. It has to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, one thing I decided to do was that I was just going to, come here. Jen's like pacing. No, lay down. Lay down. Lay down. All right. We've got Paceosaurus.
I know I've got one of those around me as well.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So anything else? Anything else that you've been doing? What are you doing? You're painting lampshades for Christmas.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I started collaging a couple. I have a couple of things I'd like to paint. I don't want to talk about it too much because they're Christmas presents, but working on putting things in jars and things that are more intentional. I don't know. Like I've been consolidating a lot. It's been hard to really do a whole lot. So I don't know. I just work and routine. I don't know. My life feels so mundane. I don't know. Working on getting my car fixed. Hopefully that will work itself out. I think the Corona stuff has been kind of nice. I get to work with people still, but just not physically interacting, so it's definitely different connecting with everybody through digital media and through like that kind of surface, but it's definitely opened me up to connecting with people in different ways or into creative ways. But then it's tricky too, because then the environment's the same and things are mundane, and then not being able to.
Hey, girl, yeah. I need to step out for 10 minutes.
Oh, man.
So keep them busy for 10 minutes. My dog's pacing for a reason. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, man, 10 minutes. What do I talk about for 10 minutes? Same thing on mundane repeat? Chirp, chirp, chirp. Just kidding. Hi. Things that I don't know. What have I been doing? What do? I do a number of things. Like I do art, I do counseling, I do coaching, I do this, I do that. And Bridgette asked me a question earlier in the week, or she had mentioned something in terms of just like, well, what do you call yourself and what do you do? And it's something that I've been grappling with for a while. Because there's a number of different things that I do and a lot of different things that I like to do, so it depends on who I'm talking to. And then in this space, it's kind of interesting, especially in switching into like new radio space. Because I used to do this really early in the mornings on Wednesdays, and I kind of miss that space. Because there was no like day filter. And I think towards the end of the day, or at the end of the day, at the end of the week, like everything is just going into reset mode. Right? Trying to rest, going into self-care. Well, I guess it's all research. Because I've been listening a lot and taking in a lot. And Bridgette had mentioned something about having a laboratory. And oh man, I'd love to have a laboratory. Just something that I can experiment in. between arts and consciousness and building different things in different vehicles, or not necessarily like motor vehicles, but interdimensional vehicles maybe, or vehicles for consciousness, or exploring more realms of that. I don't know. There's all these things that oftentimes we want, right? But if the environment isn't correct, it's hard to manifest things or materialize things. And I keep saying, I don't know, like there's just so many distractions. And so like having to focus those distractions, just focusing, trying to focus on what needs to be done, and reprioritizing and reconnecting, and getting into this realm of self-care is tricky, or like, I don't know, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything with it, but I want to do everything all at the same time. So it's kind of an overwhelming space to be in. But I imagine a lot of people are feeling that way. More people are waking up to this idea of what collective consciousness is, and understanding of themselves and different energetics, and the language is shifting, and like trying to connect with people telepathically. Can we play the telepathy game? Can I project a picture into your head at the moment of what I'm feeling? Because I think that's something that I've been grappling with in coaching, as well as in motivating people to be creative, or to not be creative, or when to be creative, and how to be creative, and why to be creative. But I think more than anything, people just want a space to talk. I want people, like, just want somebody to listen. So I feel like I'm kind of in listening mode. I'm like listening. Oh, you know what I can do? Oh, okay, you're back. I was gonna say, what I can do while I wait for you, is pull out a card. And I grabbed a tarot deck real quick, but that's not the one that I want to use. I want to pull out something from one of my oracle decks, an animal card, something to get me started. I just kind of like rambled on about a bunch of nothing, and there's some silence, and
Oh, nice.
But I don't know, like I'm in a very receptive space. I'm in like research mode, and I'm in listening mode, and wanting to just kind of see what's there. Oh, the card that I opened up to, the one that's on top, it's an owl card. And then the owl is what kind of is the animal, I guess, that started me within this radio journey. So it doesn't surprise me that it comes up. The card is See the Truth. So there's been a lot of like thought into like what is truth. Oh, see yourself in nature. That one keeps popping up too. A lot of people come to me and they're like, I need nature. They discover nature, and then getting back to nature myself. Oh, that's what I did over the weekend. I went on a hunt for Bigfoot with a friend of mine in a secret location. But it's nice to get out in nature. A couple of friends of mine, and we ended up hiking almost 7 miles up to almost 3,000 feet. It was just so nice to be that far and high up a mountain. Like when you're that high up, the air is just so different. Everything just feels so much different. I just feel so much better. Let go of the old popped up too. Okay, let's pick a card. That's that owl again. Okay, I'm gonna mix it in. Okay, Bridgette, let's see. Put your intentions in there, Bridgette. What do we got? Seek the lesson. I'm seeking the lessons, Bridgette. How about you? Did she wander off again? Did you go again?
Me?
Oh, there you are.
I'm trying to multitask and problem solve here while Well, I'm on the radio because everybody's being animated.
Everything's really buzzy today, and I just feel like everything's just around and around and around. Seek the lessons. Wisdom is born from seeking the lesson in all experiences, both the good and the bad. It is born from the awareness that everything is connected and that all happens for a reason, even when the reason remains a mystery. Embrace a new idea, new awareness, or the new knowledge that comes from listening to your internal voice, and to the human and non-human teachers and messengers who will come in and out of your life. Let them inspire you to explore unknown pathways.
So I wanted to talk about my herbs and my salve.
Okay.
Well, just because that's what I've been doing all afternoon. So I'm like trying to find other things to talk about, and then I just get nothing. So I think I would like to talk about my salve.
There you go. I got a focus and then act card, so that makes sense. We'll focus. And then people can act now.
Yeah.
Buy yourselves for Christmas.
Yeah.
The timing is perfect.
Well,
get them when they're fresh.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I think when you're doing herbal medicine, there are just some things that you have to focus in on. I mean, you have naturopaths that buy herbs and, from companies, and the companies kind of tell them, how to use them. And then you have people like me who not only, grow them when I can, but go out in nature and find them and only utilize the ones I can find, pretty much. So, each time of the year. So the last couple years, what I've focused in on is salve. I really like making salves, and I really like making the infused oils for salves. I really love, my favorite part is tromping around through nature because different plants are ready at, like different times. So you have to keep a lookout because they'll let you know.
Keep the volume down, bud, please. If you need something, I'm in here. I've kind of had to detach everything. Please don't freak out.
So yeah.
Okay, sorry. I had a screaming kiddo there for a second.
I know your house was a little animated too. Mine too.
Oh, man.
I got people burping in the background. I don't know if people can hear that, but yep. It's just going to be one of those shows. There's no control. No control. But anyway, with the herbs, so the other thing that I make is I tried my hand at making combinations of smokable herbs, but I didn't collect enough, plants out in nature for that. You have to get a lot of plant. But last year I had a smoking blend that had, all kinds of different stuff in it, like wild wood rose, petals. Just all kinds of stuff, mullein leaf, mullein flower, just all, like a whole host of stuff. And so I sold, what I had from that last year. So everybody got a smoking blend. So you can just, roll it up in a cigarette and then smoke it for all kinds of different health benefits. Probably one of my most favorite things that I learned in herbal medicine was making herbal cigarettes, with different types of medicine in them, dried. It's like one of my really favorite things. Salve's my second favorite thing to do. And tinctures, oil infusions, but you have to pick the stuff that you want to focus in on. So I try to focus in on pain, autoimmune system disease, and inflammation. Those are my big areas of plant selection if I am going to select plants, because it takes a lot of work to find stuff, keep eye on it, harvest it, and get it all prepared, and then make something out of it, utilize it. And also I really I met this woman about, 6 years ago in a little town south of Grants Pass who, I forget what she called, she liked growing medicinal plants that were nightshade, and then she had several plants that were pretty poisonous, but she was kind of it's kind of like more of a kind of a gothic herb kind of thing. But I got into growing, poppies and stuff like that, like California poppy. There's a Nevada yellow poppy. I don't have any of the Chinese opium poppy because that would be like a big criminal thing. But I like collecting the poppies and making tincture out of the poppies for people for pain, because it's way much better from the plant than, from a legal drug you're injecting in your arm or one that you're buying from the pharmaceutical company. So it's a way better opiate to take. Kind of a thing.
Natural, so something synthetic.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to be good at knowing, how many drops and, things like that. People have to kind of monitor that a little bit more, but it's all good. But my salves I made this year, it's one of my big things that I make. I'm going to start making these probiotic things starting next year. I was going to make them this year, but I didn't have anywhere to put 15 gallons, so I had to have 3 5-gallon jugs in order to make it all. And I was going to make it in a, like an apple ginger, probiotic kind of stomach fuzzy, yum. And then I was going to put herbs and stuff in it. And then I was going to actually, once it all gelled, then I would take all the plant material off. And then I was going to actually even put it in a kefir for a while, a water-based kefir, and then give it to people right before fall. But I didn't get it done. So hopefully next year I'll have a space where I'll be able to actually do something like that and then be able to sell like a really awesome probiotic to people so they can build their immune system up, coming for the winter. But my salves...
I was going to say, are these the things you just put on Etsy? Is that where people can find them? Can they find them
No,
there?
I didn't get to make the probiotic this year. I didn't have the space. I needed a space for 15 gallons.
But for your salves and stuff.
My salves, yeah. Yeah, I opened an account. I haven't gotten the stuff up there. I'm going to sell some of my shaman products, too. I have some shaman products. Things that I like to make. I don't have a lot of the space right now, but, for example, medicine bundles. And I've done really nice medicine bundles for people, like for their animals. They send me the fur or whatever, a tooth or whatever they have left, and then I can make like a medicine bundle for them and send it back to them. And and I used to do a lot of shamanism work where I go out and douse properties, and then I would energetically help assist, to help it to clean up and be blessed and raise its vibration. And so I'm going to put some of those kind of products kind of up. Well, I don't know how I'm going to put it up. I have some on my website, Ministry of Consciousness. But I do have a product page of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put a few of those things up there, and then I've got 3 salves and a medicated oil. So, so my salves, in the pain salve, so every year I do a pain salve, and more or less it'll have a certain amount of St. John's wort oil in it, wild St. John wort oil. It's like so good for pain. And then whatever else I collect that's going to be compatible with it. And so last year was the first year that I finally made it on time to collect cottonwood buds and made an oil out of that, which sat, cured for, February last year to, I just recently made the salves, so like a month ago. So that's quite a long time that it cured. So the cottonwood buds are pretty medicinal too. So my pain salve 2020 is actually St. John's wort and the cottonwood bud oil. It's awesome with beeswax that still has propolis.
There's a lot of cottonwood in Carson, isn't there? Like along the Carson River.
Yeah, but like some of the trees that have the bigger buds are big trees, and there aren't any limbs that are like even close to your level. So it's hard. It takes a while to collect. I had to collect 4 jars, and it took me, I don't know. I even had Ryan helping me, my friend Ryan. I'm like, okay, today we're going to go for a walk, and we're going to pick cottonwood buds. So that's the 2020 salve this year. So that's the salve this year. So I probably won't have it. I'll probably have something else for 2021. So it changes for the pain. And then I made inflammatory salve. I take unrefined coconut oil and then cook down. I buy the powdered herbs, and then I cook it in a crock pot at like 80 degrees off and on for a few days till the powdered herb infuses in the coconut oil. And then so I've got, for my inflammatory salve, I've got 4 different herb jars of infused oil that I put together. And then I also put in that castor oil, because castor oil is also really good at penetrating the skin. It has, what people try to get supplements for, carbon 60, and that's basically kind of what's in it. And so when it penetrates into the skin, it can put that carbon back into those areas. So can recarbonize like wrists and fingers and stuff like that. So I've got that in there with the beeswax, and everybody always loves the inflammatory salve because it just works so good for pain and aching and swelling and all that kind of stuff. And then the one I did that was unusual this year is the medic oil, is what I call it, and it had sagebrush and these big beautiful things of mugwort flowers and mugwort. And then it has also horsetail and also flowering peppermint. And so, just a certain percentage of each, and chopped all up and put it in oil and then infused. And so it's a killer oil because, it light bleeding. I'd even put it on, like if I couldn't get anywhere and I had it in my bag, I'd put it on, even a pretty good sized wound, because it will help to, get me to town and it's an antibacterial, antimicrobial, a lot of the stuff that's in the oil. Also has vitamin E, so it's very healing and soothing, and also has like the horsetail in it, so there's like silica, which helps, stimulate and aid the skin in healing as well. And then the peppermint's like a stimulant. But yeah, you could clot blood, you can do burns, rashes, anything with it, dried cuticles, hands. It's a pretty amazing salve that you can use just for anything skin. So I was pretty excited about that. And with beeswax, it makes a salve. I call it the medic salve. And then just the plain oil is the medicated oil I have. And then you can just put that like in your sinuses and your ears. If you had to, in your eyes, you can definitely use it for that kind of stuff. I'm going to use it for any kind of, if anybody gets any ear infections this year and they call me, that's probably what I'll give them for their ear infection. So anyway, yeah, so I was just really excited about my salves and getting all the jars done, and enough jars so that I can put it up on Etsy and see what happens. I have no idea if this stuff will sell or it won't sell. I have no idea, but I'll be finding out.
I think with Etsy, as long as you keep your stock pretty ongoing and you're prolific with it like you are, I think you'll do fine.
Well, we'll see what happens. I just want to be me.
There you go.
I just, have like a whole thing that's just, I think it's all good. And I like it. I mean, this is the thing, is I'm really happy with, making salve. Like, I couldn't wait. I had to put all the have-do stuff I had to do and get that done earlier today, because I knew that, once I started making salve, that I wouldn't get anything else done. And I was really excited to make salve. I'm like, I'll finally get everything done. And I'm like, yeah, now I can make salve. Woo! Party down.
It sounds like quite the process to make out.
Yeah, so pretty much are you making stuff to sell for Christmas, or are you just making presents?
It depends on how much of it I can make and of what. So there are things that I would like to sell, and I have a couple of things that are presents, and they kind of go hand in hand. I try not to do, like, because I'm an artist, I try not to do everything handmade, because that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of effort, and it doesn't necessarily save me a whole lot of money in a lot of different ways, because it consumes time, and it consumes my materials and resources, and so I don't know. It gets kind of tricky, but I like doing bundles of stuff, and I'd like to get to the point where I do candles and things. And
well, if you do have stuff to sell, where do you put it?
For the longest time, just out of my art studio, or through the gallery, or through Facebook, or through word of mouth, or usually in person at art events, things like that. But I've always found that, like, because I've tried over the years to sell art through a couple different online art platforms, and I don't know, like, I've had my most luck selling through Facebook, oddly enough. Although when MySpace was a thing, I did okay. I sold a couple pieces on MySpace, but I think, I don't know, it's just not something that I've ever really resonated with. I don't go buy things on Etsy, or, like, sometimes, like, I'm drawn to other things like that, but normally, like, if I buy arts and crafts, it's at the arts and crafts festivals that I'm at, or at whatever. But at the same time, in having a kid and having a toddler, it's definitely affected the amount of art that I've been able to, well, I don't even want to blame it on that, but for me personally, and having a kid in that time of my life, and a lot of other, like, things going on, it's been hard to put the time and the energy and the effort into. Because I think this summer was probably the first time in the last 3 years that I've had all of my art supplies set up in a functional space, or, like, in a way that I can actually use it. So I try not to get too ambitious and be like, I want to make all these things, because then I just find that I never get enough done. Then I don't know, like, I feel weird about Christmas too. And I'm always a last minute Christmas shopper.
I do absolutely no Christmas shopping. And Etsy, I mean, the thing that I love most about that is the herb vendors. And the other thing is they have amazing herbal seed vendors. I think it's called Southern Seed Exchange. Sells their stuff up on Etsy, and they have a huge selection of all kinds of medicinal plants, seeds. So a lot of the things that I'm into, there's a lot of people that are kind of into that, I think, area on Etsy, more so than anywhere else.
I have a lot of things that I'd like to make, that I'd like to craft. But it's just having the space to do it. And, like, I just now, like, this week, I've gotten to get my website partly cleaned up and get things on YouTube cleaned up, and so it would be nice to get to the point where either, like, I have the time to do more of the crafting, to be able to sell more of it through a lot, because I think, like, with COVID too, people are more open to online platform buying now. But I could just be making excuses too. Having a thing with my creativity. I don't know. No, I think it just comes down to space. I'm not having the space to have everything full functioning the way that I want it to. Like I said, like, everything's just kind of, like, multifaceted. So my production is a little slow. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of things that I can make, or, like, if I'm commissioned to do something, that usually takes me a couple months. Or, like, I have, like, art pieces and things that I'll make for myself, but, like, things that I start. So I don't know.
So we have about 5 or 6 minutes before the first hour has whipped by. And I have my, anthroposophy class. It was kind of interesting. I don't think anybody listens to my show, but they, put it out that we have to be more
Being summit.
confidential in the classes, and what people have to say, blah, 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 blah. So I can't really say too much about my applied anthroposophy class, at least the participants. But there was kind of an interesting, thing that came up in the class that I, because we're in the section of, they call it the love section. So we have different people lecturing. We do different kinds of biographical stuff for ourselves, like social art, all kinds of different things. And so, we had freedom for like 2 months, maybe even longer. And now we're having, so anyway, we had this thing with, still got a lot of animated stuff going on in the background. Okay, so anyway, something that Steiner talked about, was a lot about the technology that would be in the future, and that, people were going to have a really tough time. And so there's some indications of, kind of how to manage through it. And so, one is, whatever we're doing or whatever is being done, is it for power over others? Because Steiner said that there's three categories. Second one is self-gratification. And, relationships and love and stuff like that. But the third one is like this, place of kind of love, but love talked about as, creativity and bringing the will. Love can be the will we create to participate in this world. So, about what we're creating in the future. Anyway, love more as a creative force instead of power over others and self-gratification, but talking about technology, that's coming down the pike that he saw like into the future and where we're at. And then also the lecturer talked about work with Steiner too about the elemental beings, and basically we're talking about how the elemental beings are enchanted into the world around us, reflects well-being that brings us back in harmony. The sense world is connected to the elementals. What can be the elemental forces created in the future? So, like using our will and aligning with the elemental forces, and creating something that's not for self-gratification and something that's not to control other people. Anyway, it was it's kind of an interesting thing that I've been thinking about for like the last couple days, about, instead of calling it love, because, everybody knows I have issues with that word. If you call it love, I'm just going to be like, ignore. It's on the ignore. So I have to find different words to replace it with. And so I like this, forces of creativity, and what that would look like, and how do you, start creating that in your world now. And yeah, and we did a mirroring practice that was really interesting too. Hey, but it looks like, oh, hey, I think something is happening. So anyway, hey, it looks like we're going to be on break in just a second, and I'm just going to check on seeing what Kelsey's doing. All right, so we're going to take a break. Music should start any minute. And then we're going to go into the second hour. We're back. Second hour. Actually, I'm back. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on. Kelsey just sent me a message saying I don't think I can finish the show tonight. And so I have no idea what else is going on. So yeah, okay, so let's figure out what we could talk about for the next hour. And yeah, hey, we're going to figure that out. Anyway, so I was going to talk a little bit on the second hour about some more solstice stuff. So we're going to go ahead and hop in there just to make sure my mic is on. All right. So anyway, I was digging through some stuff and wanted to give people another idea on some solstice stuff. Maybe a solstice idea, like we did the sticks last week. You can go back and listen to that show. This week we're going to talk about, we were doing the 4 days of solstice. So anyway, was going to give you guys another look at it. I had something on here that was kind of a cool thing, so I'm just kind of looking for it. Just looking for it. Okay, so altar. And I've seen this in different cultures. Not so much, I think a lot of the South American cultures and the Polynesian cultures, they do quite a bit where they do these beautiful circle altars, and it'll have like fruit decorated on it. So I was going to talk about like a little bit of a winter solstice kind of that you might want to include on your altar. So some of the cooler altars I've seen, they take like something that they've grown, obviously, or has grown in their area. Like right now we have squash. We have a lot of local squash, so you can go down and get yourself, like, might still even be able to get some pumpkins. And then, go ahead and start, creating your altar from that. Use like something big, like a piece of squash or something like that, and then go from there. And then just kind of build out, different rings in different patches of different kinds of colored seeds or whatever else that you can, find. You could put like a little bit of cedar, if you can find fresh cedar. Like I definitely would, put some sagebrush, because I use sagebrush for a lot of medicinal reasons on there to, encourage plants for next year when the sun starts to come out. Thanking them by doing an altar and connecting to the elementals and the spirits like that. So another really cool thing that I've done in the past for the winter solstice is I've done little more native path altars with like the 4 directions and different types of medicines and stuff on them. And then I've actually put it out on Facebook and email, and I would do a global altar. So everybody could send me 3 words that were described, either all different kinds of stuff. People would send me like, healing, like a word, health, whatever their 3 words were. And so I would write them down and I would put them on the altar. Sometimes I had a huge bunch of paper on top with all the different people on there. But that's back when I had space. But you can take photos of people that you are worried about. You can put them on your altar. You could put different medicines on there that say, you want to give them medicines, and they're probably maybe not so open to like receiving those medicines. So you can put those medicines on the altar for them, next to their picture, and, helping them that way, kind of long distance healing. You could put things on your altar from people who passed that you miss. You do like a little holiday remembrance kind of altar and put some things on there that they would like. But I'm really big on these seed altars. I'd actually like to be able to do them, to be able to put all the flowers. But because I live in the desert, it's really hard to find plants that are living, that I could put onto that altar. So I'm thinking that kind of an altar is probably going to be like maybe like a summer solstice altar for me, because I could go out and get a whole bunch of different plants and then, put the altar together. My teacher Bovido used to be big into putting plants on, fresh plants onto the altar, and then, when you disassemble your altar, taking those plants to, like a waterway or like the lake or the river, so that they have really good medicine to offer, the waterways. Just take the plants dried or however they are, and just do an offering and crunch it up and put it into the water as an offering. And you could keep it, say you have your little altar now, with your plants and everything. You can even, pack away the plants, into like a paper bag so they don't mold, and put them in the garage until like the summer. And you can take them out and put them in the waterways and take them to places that, you're going to be traveling, as blessings and, beautiful things, prayers and blessings. So let's see. I think I would probably talk about, on the West Coast, we have like negative water. And so I was thinking maybe I would talk to people today about rain altar. We can do like a short talk about that. So 2014, I ended up on native land and was kind of doing custodial stuff. So another native friend of mine was there on the property for a while. So we did a lot of, a ceremonial prayer, lots of prayer work. We both really needed huge amounts of prayer work. And, we were chopping wood and everything for the place, for the ceremonies could happen. And when we take down the ceremonial area after a certain amount of days, and we'd perfectly clean it and take care of it and get it ready, for the next time that there'd be any kind of ceremonial work there. And I was working with a Paiute elder, and these water wheel ceremonies that he does that regenerate and raise the vibration of the water. And we had done one on this particular land. And so it was really dry. It was a super dry winter. And I remember him saying, well, bring the water to you. So I went out and found some, water concrete fittings. And then I found an actual thing that said water on it that was metal that came from, like a hole in the ground. And then what I did was I went out and I found this really old kind of ancient river out kind of in the desert. And I picked up the stone that kind of had a basket, not like a solid round type basket. It was a little bit flatter, but it had definitely indentation inside, the stone where it would hold water, like even enough that like a little bird could take a bath in it. So I put that on the top. Basically, got a jug of water. I wasn't really sure how to go about this, but I know that intention and attention matters. So, basically what happened was I put the altar in the middle of this little ceremonial area because that wheel was specifically for water, inhaling water. And then what I did was I held my attention. So I imagined myself. So the first time that I worked with it, because I was going to do like, a little bit of research, work with it, do something, wait, see how many days it takes for something to happen. And so the first time I did it, I imagined that it rained, all day. And then I took my water, my prayed over water, and then I slowly dumped the water all over the whole altar, and then made sure that it was saturated even down to the ground. And basically what I imagined was, watching the clock through an 8-hour day with rain going on outside. And then, I kind of had medium type rain coming down for those 8 hours. And then, I would pour the water onto the altar, and then it would hit the ground. And then I would just leave it to see, if I'm doing a good job. And I left an offering as well, tobacco prayer. And so I left the area to see what would happen. And it took like about 3 days, and we did have like 8 hours of rain. So I was like, I wasn't quite sure. Is this working? Is it not working? Is it just coincidence? So the next time I did it, I decided I was going to imagine a misty type rain, and I wanted it to rain for 3 days. So I imagined in my mind that I would be doing things on the property for the whole day, and then imagine myself going to sleep that night and then waking up to it still raining. And then, through the next day, going to bed, wake up in the morning, it's still raining. And then, go to sleep again. And then the next morning, there's no rain. It's stopped. And just the type of misty rain. And so, I had to hold all these kinds of things in my mind and play it out, in my head. So then, I took the pitcher of water, blessed water, my offering, and, poured the water on the altar. And about 3 days later, we had 3 days where it was like the weirdest, mistiest rain. And it went on for 3 days. So I waited about a month. And this time I was going to do it with snow. I wanted to be able to do it on the altar and see if I could bring snow or, put snow. And, it's not so much, I don't think I'm conjuring it. I think that what I'm doing is I'm just putting it into the stream. I mean, some people call it the Akasha record, but the stream. And, and then it's like a little program or application. And then, maybe it helps the matrix to, play it out. I don't know. I don't really know. I know that working with the rain altar made me realize that, things like alchemy are a lot easier than we're taught, and that, it kind of looked like these things could be possible, bringing water to areas. So, so the third time I just imagined snowing pretty heavy, like overnight, and then waking up in the morning and it's not snowing anymore, but there's, like knee deep kind of snow. And then, I did my rain on the altar, and I left my tobacco prayer, and it didn't happen. It didn't snow. We didn't get any snow. And then I realized, like, maybe, things can be very altar specific. I mean, even if, like, you do different types of, medicine ceremonies, like there are, things that don't mix, different types of medicines that don't mix, because they're different beings and they have different energies and vibrations. So I was thinking, like this one rain altar, I've just been using it for rain. And so I probably would have to erect something similar, probably even in the same location, but, it would be for, I don't even know if I like the word manifesting snow. Yeah, I don't know. But doing something like that was pretty interesting. So being able to utilize something as an altar to, be thankful, help out the matrix or the Akashic record or the stream or however you want to look at it. But I think there is something too, like, on a personal level when you're dealing with something like a rain altar or some of these different altars, is that it's nice to like walk into an area that's, kind of sacred and do, sacred type work and prayer. And there's something about, making areas, the one thing I like about the native people in the US and Canada is that they didn't really do a lot of pyramids or megaliths. I mean, there are some megaliths around that are being reactivated since 2016 by the native people. But, they were good at making medicine wheels. And the thing that's really cool about medicine wheels is that you could, make them super small or you can make them super big. But for the most part, you could actually pick up the rocks. If you were going to go relocate or you were going to go somewhere else, you could actually pick up the stones and take them with you, where not a lot of, other indigenous cultures had their, I don't know, their stone medicine or their sacred area medicine builder, that they could take things with them. Because sometimes, you have to take the altar, the medicine with you. Also, some really good things that you can put on your altar are things like sunflowers, plants, those are kind of reminiscent of the sun and being in the winter solstice. We want to give gratitude, to the sun and that it takes care of us and continues to shine. And I know that sometimes people think that, these kind of systems of belief or whatever could be maybe, not significant or important. But for me, a lot of this work that I've done brings me, back to myself. And, mirroring that kind of stuff. In the class, like this class that we had, it's kind of an interesting thing. Well, the class that I'm having on Thursdays, my applied anthroposophy class. And hold on, I'm trying to find it. But we're doing our biography work. And okay, I think I've got it. Yeah, so the biography work this week had to do with so basically mirroring work. The questions were hold on a second. Oh, I passed it, I think. Ooh. Okay. So the biography questions were so where did we individually, personally see, like on the outside world, where was there outside of you and around you a shortage of love? That was the question. And my answer, so after, we do start doing the biography, we're given time, to questions, and then, answer the questions and journal. And then we get another question, and then we get like the final question, and then we, write down and journal, and then we're put into these groups, and we discuss it. And it's really interesting to do like this type of a biography work with other people, because I think I'm most astonished at the fact that how everybody is so completely different, and like even how like they would view something as love. So my answer to, where is the shortage of love outside of you? And I just, journaled that I see it in people. Like, people are not taking care of themselves. They look like hell. They're, worn out, given up, like borderline psychotic, stressed out, you know. And then, so the second question was, where is there love too much? And I'm not sure, like, there's too much love out there or not enough. I think and for me, where I get, like, built back up is nature and plants and trees, and navigating some of these, like, wilder areas, on the hunt for herbal plants and trees and seeds and medicine. And this time of year, it's a little rough for me because it's, brown, everything's gone to sleep, and it's kind of colder. I don't mind the cold, but I miss having something green or flowering or something that I can go tromp around and look at and get to know. And, so I'm not, and nature is where I think there's like too much love, where there's a lot of love. And so that was my answer: nature, plants, and trees. And then the last question was something from my own life that is an aspect of these. And then I was pretty surprised myself because, the mirrored answer was that I need to also focus in on taking, better care of myself and more care of myself. And then the other answer was, obviously, I need to go where there's too much love, where there's nature. So, because that's how I build myself back up and take care of myself, and it energizes me. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. We do a lot of this biography stuff, and you find out that it's just like it's just a mirror of you answering. You think you're answering it out in the outside world. You're noticing it in the outside world, and then it comes back home as, exactly indication of what's going on with yourself, like what's wrong with yourself and what you need. And I think it's interesting, like the Hopi always say that, when the battle inside ends, the battle outside will end. And I don't think that means that changes your reality at all. I don't think that, things are going to change or they're going to be something different. But what it does mean, I think, is how you interact with it, is from a completely different place. So, yeah, out there, so what are you guys doing? So, where is your shortage of love? And where is your abundance of love? And you can replace that word love for different things, creativity. Where is there too much creativity that you can go to tap into it? And where is like shortage of creativity or whatever? Community. Where is the shortage of community? Where is too much community? It's always interesting to me. It's like, talking to yourself in Morse code, but you don't know what the Morse code is. Anyway, that's my little applied anthroposophy for the week. Yeah. Yep. And, it's a really good class. It's just a really kind of great reminder about yourself, and your biography, personal biography, and what that biography works, that personal biography is with, other people, which is very interesting. Because cultures, we all have like some different, definitely different things. I guess that's what makes us, human, right? Is all the variations and all the differences. All right, well, I was just going to think about like what kind of herbs would be growing right now. Well, there's still something that's probably still good is, definitely pine needle. You have to get online and find out, which pine trees are the best ones. But pine needles are always good to collect and come home and, make a hot infused herbal tea. Pine needles have, I think there's one pine needle, there's one that you shouldn't use to make tea or herbal medicine, and then there's one that you should. So you should do your homework and actually take a look in there and see which one it is. But you can go up and collect it, and then you can go ahead and make it like an infused tea with it. And it has a lot of vitamin C in it. And it's one of the reasons that native people, one of them, there's a lot of plants that have, native plants that actually have vitamin C in them, but that was a big one of why, they didn't get scurvy or those types of degenerative diseases. So, so you can drink some pine needle tea. I'm just trying to think about what else is out there. We're not quite ready for cottonwood buds yet. That's probably not, unless it stays warm, we could start having buds in January. Last year I was picking the crud out of them before the cold snap in February, and then there was a cold snap and it stunted them and then killed some of them on the trees, and then there was a couple months later and it warmed up again, and then they started producing buds. So, and I also think, like different times that you collect something. So say you get that, like the cottonwood buds, you get that first burst of those buds. You get the first round if the trees end up growing two buds because, the buds freeze. There's difference between that medicine and more of a spring medicine. And I think it's interesting, like the different times that you can pick the plants, when to pick them. I think, having a relationship with them really matters. Going out in some of the different areas that I collect, some of the plants all the plants that I work with, I get out of the environment and how they grow, who they grow with, when they grow. And you can have huge distances. Like, for example, St. John's wort, wild St. John's wort. It has like a 3-month window that you have to really, really monitor it, and if you take the flower and you pull it off the plant and you rub it on your palm and it creates like a color marker, it'll be a crimson color, and the stronger and thicker it is, the more that the plant is ready, right? So now all the medicines are in it ready for pain, right? It's amazing pain medicine. And only at that time, and so you have to watch it. And like, having dealt with wild St. John, a lot of things affect it. For example, if I look at the river, say closer to Truckee, up there, it takes a lot longer for that wild St. John's wort to ripen because it's cooler and just it's just kind of in a different place and a different altitude, where I might have some down in Reno ready to harvest beforehand, even like a month beforehand. And so I have to pick from lots of different areas because there isn't enough wild St. John wort growing, because it's in places where there's lots of ranching and cattle, it's like illegal and banned. It's like considered a noxious weed. It's like one of the best painkillers for humans, like on the whole West Coast, probably wherever else that it grows. And so you have to like cultivate these little pockets where you find them and not tell anybody, and leave some of it there so that it, can replant itself like the next year. And so you have to kind of go to all these different areas. But, there's been like a 3-month window of having to watch something like St. John's wort be ready, and over a 3-month period just to get enough, to make, I mostly make infused oil out of it. That's what I like to make, the best, and the kind of infused where, it sits for 2 or 3 months in the jar, and the medicine comes out of the St. John's wort into the oil. I just don't want to cook a lot of this stuff. And, you can take fresh plants or dried plants, and you can actually put them in a crock pot with, oils. But, so I always kind of end up on the edge of deep frying stuff. And I'd rather just kind of be like way more natural and, on the fresh plant end, which just takes a longer period to infuse the oil. But yeah, and then getting it home, like things like horsetail probably could be like the next day I could probably chop it up and put it in, because it's a pretty deserty, it's a pretty tough plant, and mostly we're going after the minerals, like silica. But there are some things that are pretty delicate, like a peppermint or a mint or something like that may not even make it home on the drive after you pick it, in order to be able to chop it up. Things that are a little bit more trying to get them together, finding out how they grow together. And another thing too is I like to notice what insects like the different medicinal plants. Like, for example, I fell in love with teasel, and it's an amazing plant. You have to get the root on the first year. Most biannual plants like mullein, even a thistle, teasel, a lot of those kinds of plants, they'll grow a stalk and then flower at the top on the second year. And so a lot of, like, when you want to collect mullein root, you want to get it on the first year, kind of before it goes to sleep. And then, because once it wakes back up, it's going to put all of its energy and medicine in driving up that stalk into that flower. And teasel is so amazing. It also is like unbelievable medicine and remedy for people that have Lyme disease. I know somebody personally that's used it 4 times, that got Lyme disease 4 times, and cured their Lyme disease using teasel root. And you have to be careful with it, because it, you take the tincture of it, and it goes into your body, and it like heats your body up. So you have to be really careful about, monitoring that. So you may like want to do like you would with something like wormwood, and take 1 drop, and then the next day, take 2 drops and like 3 drops, and probably just stay at like 3 drops or something like that, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. But it heats the inside of your system up in a way where it will kill like the parasites, and a lot of things like Lyme disease are, parasitic. But it gets this huge, beautiful flower, cone flower, like on the top of the plant, with like billions of these little teeny little purple flowers. And the one thing that made me really fall in love with teasel, and the leaves are edible. They're super bitter. They're like, they're that bitter, but they're so good for the gallbladder. You could make a vinegar out of it. You could make you could even make a tincture out of it. You could make a bitters out of it and or eat them. And the gallbladder needs a lot of bitterness, and we don't eat enough foods that actually are bitter. In nature, a lot of the plants are actually bitter. So when we were eating more off the land, we would have been eating things that actually would have supported, a lot of what our organs need in order to really thrive. And we don't really get any of that even in our diet. Even the healthiest people don't get enough of that. I mean, a lot of people end up having their gallbladders removed. It's like, the big thing. But teasel, the cone of the flower, attracted these really big, like black bumblebees. I mean, big old black bumblebees. They might have a little bit of yellow on them. And I was just fascinated with like how many bees are like around these flowers and even kind of bumping into each other. It's amazing to me, like you could have, 20 different types of bees and wasps, sharing flowers. They never really get in a fight. They all get what they need and they all head back home. But, to see these big black bumbles that have like all this pollen on their legs and, they look like drunk people flying a plane. But they were so interested in those teasel flowers. And that's what made me really realize like that plant is a pretty powerful medicinal plant on so many different levels. It's a pretty amazing type of plant. I learned a lot from that plant. I actually wrote my paper for my national certification. I wrote my final paper on teasel. I just really loved it. And you can make actually a block flower remedy out of it. It's so unbelievable to make flower remedies. I mean, flower remedies are like, I think it's like an ether medicine because, Steiner talks about how, plants and trees, have all this ether and astral on top of them. And like the insects and the birds, not only pollinate, but they move this energy around. And so, to take these flowers and make a Bach flower remedy. But it helps with brokenness. So you can take all those little purple flowers and put them in water and do like a little Bach flower remedy and take it, and it heals like the unseen parts of us that have to do with brokenness. So I haven't done any flower remedies since my class, not this last summer, but the summer before. We did we were out in this location looking at wild oat, because it makes a really good tincture too. I mean, oatmeal is really good to calm down your nervous system, and you can do wild oat tincture, and you can take it, and it's really good with calming down your nervous system. And we were looking at a lot of medicinal plants, and so we did a Bach flower remedy, and it was almost unanimous between like 12 of us. Like they were the most beautiful. I think they were called fairy lantern plants, and the flowers on them, the fairy lantern, it's white and beautiful, and it looks just, it's an exquisite flower. So we did a Bach flower remedy out of it, and then we all took a drop of it, and it basically made us go so internalized, like you wanted to just roll over in a ball and just kind of like, reflect. And it was interesting how all of us like really felt that pull to go really, really inside and, kind of really away from the outside world. It was a trip. They do work. And you put them with brandy. So the basic of it is that you should have little glass bowls, like see-through, like crystal-like type bowls. And you could probably even add, you could do like a little amethyst bowl or something else that's really non-toxic type of crystal, and you could even put the water in that. And then what you do is you select your flowers, that you're going to make your remedy from. And then you put your flowers, you don't need a ton, like 3 or more in a small bowl. And then you just put it in the sunlight, direct sunlight, I think for like 3 to 8 hours. And then you got to make sure that, no shadows go past it. And then that, kind of energy is added into it. So you got to make sure that it's clear and high enough up, with the sun that you don't walk past it or block its, charging up with the sun. And then you basically, when it's all done, now you have a mother. The mother is like the main one that you can take, a few drops of and then put it into like a brandy base. And then you can take the tincture, whenever you need it for specific reasons. Really beautiful thing, but the fairy lantern just dropped me. And I was really surprised about how potent it was. And it was kind of a little bit hard to come out of. We all had to get back in our cars and drive off from being in the mountains down to our quite a ways away to our camp location. And so, yeah, I slept good that night. So I gave I had a little jar of fairy lantern Bach flower remedy, so I gave it to a friend of mine who really needed that kind of medicine because it was it might have been just a little bit too intense for myself, to be perfectly honest, kind of a thing. But yeah, another really awesome thing that can be done, and different things that you can find out, in nature. Like, yarrow is so good. Like, you can make the most amazing, like, yarrow ales, like not alcoholic ones, more kind of like an ale flat, or even a fermented one. You could do like an ale, or you could do like a yarrow ginger. And the ginger just is really good at naturally, fermenting. But that yarrow, when you have it into like something that you can drink, I mean, it is so good for any kind of digestive issues. Add it with that ginger, and you can make that in your own house. You could go buy the ginger root, chop it up, and you could even use dried yarrow. Or this summer, when you see it growing, you can go out and pick a whole bunch of heads and chop it up and throw it in there, and then you have like this really good stomach, fluey kind of, beautiful elixir for the winter. You have all that light and sunshine in that medicine, and then being able to take it or drink it in the winter, it just infuses you with, light. I mean, 'cause that's all that stuff is to me. I don't have another word for it, but it just imbues, it has light, and it just imbues you with light. All right. Well, I hope everything is okay with Kelsey. And I know a lot of people are tired and stressed out, and just a lot of things going on. And yeah, it's all good. It is all good in the hood. So, what else is going on out there, people? Are you doing anything, interesting for Christmas? Happy? Sad? Mad? I noticed that not a lot of people seem to be buying Christmas trees. There's a place that I go by. They even have small ones, just not a lot of people. I think, we're going to be going through some pretty intense change coming up. And I think it's going to be, pretty intense. I think we should be really grateful about what we do have. Maybe even like, making a list, checking it twice of the things to be grateful for. I know for me, I, have been in medicine long enough to know that COVID is not real. Sorry, but it's the truth. I mean, well, let's just say the coronavirus is not what people think it is. And then, they've upscaled it to COVID. So it's changed names over the course of, the confusion. But for me, it's kind of stopped the world in a way where it's stopped for a lot of people. And it's just given me some time to be able to kind of get through some, really rough periods of my life where, like I still have a lot of grieving to do and I have a lot of, personal work, a lot of, intense trauma and tragedy and the works. So it's been a really good time for me because instead of just, surviving, I could get off the survival train and, hang out with myself for a while and start clearing out, some of the darker energies and start imbuing more color in. And now I'm kind of coming full circle. And I don't think if I haven't had this period of COVID, I don't think I would have gotten a break, from kind of the world and the whole survival thing and being able to change and morph and shift and do a whole bunch of internal work that needed to be done so that I can now, step back out into the external world with gifts and work and health and vitality and goodness and a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do because I just couldn't, build on. I just didn't have the energy and I was too tired and too exhausted and too under the weight of just, really rough period. So I just a few things that happened since 98, I think. I lost pretty much, my whole family and a large amount of them from like 98 to 2003. And I lost my two closest friends a year apart. They were both murdered. They didn't know each other. They were just murdered. One was murdered by the government and the other one was murdered by her aunt, her heroin addict aunt. And I went through a period where, I had been dating somebody who just lost his complete mind. And then I left him and then he just really totally lost it. And he was trying to pay people to put plastic explosives under my car. And because he came from old family money, the ATF and some of these other organizations just didn't care. They didn't really care about the evidence and the proof and the witnesses and all that. I also had brain cancer. That's when I was fighting brain cancer, stage 5 brain cancer, which, I'm still not sure why I lived through that. It was pretty intense. And I lost all my investments when my one friend was murdered, who was also my business partner in building holistic healthcare centers, and we would have had insurance for that as well. But the government decided to murder him because they didn't really like where we were headed. And, we were doing pretty good with our project. So, yeah, and they liquidated $800,000 of everything that I had worked for and invested in 24 hours after they murdered my business partner and my friend, so they took all my retirement and my investments. And yeah, so I've been through a lot. I've been attacked for my private practice. Had every state and government agency up my you-know-what, threats of arrest, everything else, fought that. Yeah, just a few things that were in there that have happened since '98. So it's been a tough road. It's been a really, really tough, long, hard, arduous process. So yeah, if you're out there and you're barely holding on, just take it inch by inch, minute by minute. And don't think about tomorrow or in a week or 2 weeks down the road. You just think about what is in the present moment. Am I hungry? Do I need water? Do I need to go sit in the sunlight? Do I need to go run around the block? What do I need to do? What do I feel that I need? And just focus there. And just, realize that you probably have a lot of trauma. You have a lot of trauma that nobody's helped you with, that people don't even recognize in you, probably don't even recognize it in yourself. And just take care of yourself. Take better care of yourself. And if you're afraid or you're upset, let it out. Have a nervous breakdown. Get down on your hands and knees. It might be time for you to get to know your Creator again. And maybe some days, you're going to pray 5 or 6 times to get through that day. Because there's a lot of really crazy things that are happening to people and more crazy that's going to happen. So you better prepare yourself, get yourself centered, get yourself focused. This is not the time to leave the game either. I think this is the time where, I think it's going to take a while. It could take 10 or 20 years, but I think this is the time where we're needed. We're needed in the football game. And, we've got like 2 seconds left to, get that touchdown. And so hang in there. Hang in there. Stay in the game. Stay in the play, because you don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. And not saying that things are going to be great, but I think that we're being given a chance that we can chisel through and maybe break down a lot of the things that have caused bad things to happen to a lot of us. And maybe we can just, at least in ourselves, gain our own freedom. Right? Be free. Be free in your mind and be free in your emotions. Be free inside, and then hopefully that will transmute how you deal with the outside, even if it's terrifying and scary. All right, everybody.